Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division in the Gridiron tournament. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. So let's go. We're gonna start off with hole number 1. Hole number 1 is a par 5 and we're going to take it very easy here. 2 bars of topspin with 2.5 bars side spin to the left. And then we're going to aim for like just to be there, just in the center. It's like the reason I'm choosing the quarterback as well is due to the fact that the quarterback is having a very good accuracy and a very good ball guideline, and that is going to be very helpful to get it to the fairway. And then even if we hit it great either left or right, we're still going to have no problem to get it there to the fairway and have an open shot for the pin. The thing that we do need to have in mind here is that we do need to have a shot for the pin at least. Even though it's an easy hole, we will, with the lower level rough irons and sandwich, have problem if we do get into the rough and into the sand there short. And then we're going to have to rely on having to hit that ball perfect, and you know, all that struggle and stuff like that is never going to be fun to be working with. So we're gonna continue here, and we're going to have our opponent here first and foremost that are going to go with a power 3 ball. I don't agree with a power 3 ball necessarily. The reason I don't agree with that is due to, like, we don't need that distance. We can play with a mauling ball, and otherwise we might going to do this, and that's going to be very unlucky in the end. But like, play with a lower level ball, make sure that you play with a quarterback so you have the ball guideline and the accuracy to fall back on. Second shot here, I'm going to play max backspin, which is 3 bars with the level 6 Viper. And that is going to be, from this area, it's going to be around the maximum to between maximum and medium distance, if not maximum completely, as we only have a power 0 ball, which is the Marlin, of course. So in this case, we're going to adjust for 4.9. We're going to adjust approximately like 2.3 rings with the Viper, and then go for the pin. Of course, as for all approach shots, we need to hit it perfect. When we hit it great, we're going to, of course, put ourselves more to the right. Before we go to hole number 2, do not forget to check down in the video description down below for direct timestamps in this playthrough. In there, you will be able to skip to directly to hole number 3, 4, 5, or whatever if you don't want to watch hole number 1, for an example. Also, check out patreon.com/golf-tommy for training session packages, but also for the updated text guides that will be out already during Tuesday for the Gridiron tournament. So now, hole number 2, it's a must eagle in my opinion. And when we do have this wind, I do strongly advise that we should go for the green. I understand that we might not feel that comfortable doing so, as there is a very tiny spot to hit. But if we're going to get to the top in this tournament, or feel that we can compete in this tournament, we do need to have an eagle on this one. And that could be, I am not say to get an eagle on a par 4 is never easy, but it's definitely going to be highly likely if we do give ourselves the try here. So I'm going to go with 2.5 bar backspin, and then we're going to just aim. You can see here now that even with the 2.5 bar backspin, you can see my ball is showing that it should be going down into the sand. But due to the little bit of tailwind that we're having, we're going to have something that is called extended ball guideline, which means that the ball is going to bounce a little bit further than expected, and therefore that backspin is going to be enough. Max curl with XMI level 5, which is half a ball, which is good. So if you have more, use only half a ball. And then you can see we landed very nicely there on the fairway. I would also advise that if you do have 3 bars of backspin on your club, rather use 3 bars than use 2.5. So you have a little bit of room when it comes to your adjustment there. But in the end, 2.5 or 3, it doesn't matter. You will still be landing there nicely. So now we are going to have a very easy wedge, and we're going to, of course, be making that eagle. The thing again, we do need to make an elevation adjustment for downhill 10%. That's very important, otherwise we're going to come in too long, and we might going to just stay in the rough instead, which, yeah, that we won't be wanted to do. So you can see here with the Firefly level 2, I'm using the max topspin possibility here and just rely on the ball guideline, putting in it basically straight at the pin, and then I take my shot. With a wedge like this, you need to have in mind that it is going to be enough for you to hit the great on either side as well, and of course perfect, and it's going to go in the hole. So then we take our eagle. That's good. You can see we're coming directly to hole number 3, and due to a mess up with the recording here, I'm going to talk you through it. We're going to bounce on the first piece of fairway, slightly to the left side of the first piece of fairway, and we're going to go with as much as 2.5 bar topspin, and we're going to go with 2 bars of side spin to the right. Then we're going to adjust for an over adjustment of 10%, and then we landed here. So unfortunately I don't have more rookie accounts, so I cannot replay that hole, so I do apologize for the crappy recording for hole number 3, but it is that we aim at the bottom of the fairway, 2.5 bar topspin, 2 bars of side spin to the right with an over adjustment of 10%, then we're going to be good. Hole number 4. Now we're going to try to go for the green. So we're going to do a double bounce. So first bounce on the first piece of fairway, then we bounce on the second piece of fairway over to the rough to roll out on the fringe or onto the green if we're lucky. The thing is here though, is that we will, with an extra mile level 5, have a very tough time to make an adjustment in with the topspin here, that we will be some of the times go very short. You can see here I'm using just a tiny bit of curl to the right. I'm using max topspin, which is 4.5 bar, and I'm using max side spin to the right as well, which is 4.5 bar. You can see we bounce very nicely coming over, and we just get it to the rough and almost roll out to the fairway. The problem we have here is that we have a little bit too little of topspin. We would be loving to have like 5 or 6 bars, then we would be golden all the time. We make an over adjustment of 10% as well due to the downhill approach. So, but that is the shot that I'm going to take every single time. The reason is the following. Even if we do not have the ultimate way of topspin bars, it's still going to be better for us to be in the rough there short than it's going to be playing on the right side and we're going to have a short iron or a long iron towards the pin. So the rough there is basically we need to hit it perfect and we're going to have an eagle anyway. And I think that's something that we just need to have in mind when we do. If we go this short, that's our opponent going to the bunker. That's of course a little bit tougher, but I still will be playing with a sandwich here rather than playing with a long iron or a short iron from distance. The thing that I do here when I do have, which I do always when I have lower level rough irons and sandwich, is that I go for the dunk. I do put it just straight at the hole with aiming at the back of the cup, and then of course we need to hit it perfect. But the reason I'm not letting to rely on the ball guideline is because the ball guideline is very much crap on the rough cutter here, and therefore we're going to go with that. So hole number 5. Now it's time to use the quarterback again. It maybe sounds very weird to use the quarterback when we play on a par 5. Like 2 par 5s we play with the quarterback, but here we do need curl, and the quarterback here is the club that gives us that curl. So max side spin and 2 bars of top spin. The ultimate top spin bar would be 3 in my opinion, and that is something that I do believe is going to be the best way for us. You can see I'm aiming, even if the trees are showing that they are in play, like that we're going to cut the trees, but we're going to curl around, so that won't be a problem. Like 1.5 ball of curl outside to the left. And you can see here that we're coming in very nicely with the 2 bars of topspin, and once again I would like to have 3, then we would be gaining a little bit more yards. We need to make an over adjustment with the drive as well, 10%. That is once again very important, as we otherwise going to go too long when we do have tailwind here. Now for the second shot, we do need to have a club with a lot of distance, and therefore we're playing with the big dog, or we can play with a Cataclysm, but playing in Rookie Division we're most likely not going to have a Cataclysm. So there we're going to find ourselves with the big dog as our second club. We always play this one with a power 3 ball. Never go and try to play this one with a basic ball, because even if you would be reaching at the top end of that fairway, you're still going to have a very tough time to get it to green, as you're not going to have a distance. This shot would be absolutely perfect with a power 3 ball, then we wouldn't be having to overpower and stuff like that. Now we are kind of in between a little bit. We are just in the zone where we don't need to use any overpower, which is perfect. So now I'm not going for the pin. And why? The reason is that we do have the bunker, we do have the rough, and the pin stands short, and it's going to be very, very tough to get that one towards the pin. And if we do go too hard towards the pin, or like too aggressively, then we're going to very much endangering the rough and the sand. So I use some tiny bit of curl to the right, 2.5 bar backspin, and some side spin to the right, and just aim for the right side of the green to make the ball come up there, to make it fall back down, and going to have an easy putt for the eagle. This is not going to be an albatross hole. So if you do make an eagle, take the eagle, run as fast as you can with a speed that is enough to make it to stop in the hole, so it not just like roll over the hole as it would be doing some of the times. Now for hole number 6, we need to make an over adjustment of 10%. And just to add that before we take this shot, for the second shot for hole number 7, we need to add that as well with 10% there. I'm going to use, as you can see, no bars of backspin, or no bar, and also no bars of topspin as well, with 1 bar of side spin to the right. In the end here, we're going to adjust for medium distance with a 10% over adjustment here with this shot. And we bounce, and we make the ball roll there in very nicely, I would say. And therefore we're going to lock in the birdie. It's very important here as well to use the elevation adjustment in a proper way. And we're going to just make sure that we're going to stay on the green in a very easy way. This is a pretty not an interesting hole in my opinion, as it's going to be rather hard to get the hole in one. Sometimes we're going to get a little bit of a fringe glitch and stuff like that, but I do believe that the way here in the center is definitely going to be the way that we do want to play this hole, as it's going to be the best way for us to get a hole in one. So our opponent's going to play in the center as well. We both do, and we both do 2 decent shots. And I'm going to just tweak it and only use a little bit more side spin the next time. Then we're going to be good. So I'm going to use 2.5 bar side spin, like the maximum I can get when I'm all in ball. Then I'm going to be okay. So we pot it in, take the birdie, be happy with the birdie, and we're then gonna go now to hole number 7. So our opponent puts it in as well. There isn't that much more to say, honestly, about hole number 6, as it is a fairly simple one to play to get a birdie. But the second shot for hole number 5, we need to make an uphill adjustment of 10%. That's also something that I would like to have you to have in mind. Now we're going to play hole number 7. Once again, a tough one. I play it right side. I feel comfortable with doing so. You can play it left side if you do not feel confident enough with your skill of hitting perfect, or maybe with your luck of hitting perfect. Sometimes it is like that as well. We're going to make an over adjustment of 5% here for this shot, for the drive, and I'm using a power 3 ball. The reason I did that was because I didn't know if we're going to have tailwind or not, and I didn't change. But you can play with a power 1 and a power 2 ball as well if you want to. We do use the side spin that we do have, which is 4.5 bar to the right, because the fairway has a natural push to the left with a bounce, and therefore we need to compensate for that by using side spin to the right. Then we in the end are going to use you can use all from no backspin to half a bar or 1 bar if you want to. It all going to just decide how short you're going to go on the fairway. I do believe though that like if we're going to go for the eagle on this par 4, then we do need to play on the right side and take that risk and reward drive and just lay up there for the opportunity with a long iron for the pin. Long iron towards the pin is going to be a little bit interesting, as we're going to have tailwind. That means that we're going to get an extended ball guideline. The importance here is to know where we are. Like, are we in medium position, are we in minimum position, or where are we really on the course? Do try to leave. As you can see here, we do have the blue ring just being on top there of the rough. The further we aim there, the more downhill that fairway is going to slope, and the bounce is going to be lower, and that is going to most likely put ourselves in the rough or in the sand. Here you can see I'm aiming, so the second bounce is just in the rough. The reason is the tailwind, as we're going to have an extended ball guideline, which means that the ball is going to bounce over the rough anyway, and we do need the ball to bounce as close to the rough there on the big. So there we go to hole number 8. Hole number 8 is the easiest hole in the whole tournament, a par 3. That we're going to just make sure that we give ourselves a decent chance to make an hole-in-one. Many players is going to be close, and some players is going to drop it. And the important part here, of course, is to stay away from the sand there. There is no reason, like a good reason, to play that close to the sand as our opponent is doing, as with a great shot that potentially would be putting the ball into the sand, and that would be, yeah, not fun at all. Now it comes in very nicely here. Going to be an easy birdie. You can see that the green is basically works as it slopes from right to left there on the green, and that is going to help us big time when it comes to going for the pin, as we're going to aim up for the ball really to get, like when we play here with a long iron, we do want to get the ball to go straight at the pin. That, at least I believe, is going to be the better way. We are not going to have enough backspin to get the ball to get to the top right and fall back down, as it's going to roll too much and it's going to come in and go behind the pin instead. So me myself as well, I'm using the side spin I do have on the Marlin ball with 2 bars of backspin, letting the ball do the job, over adjusting my shot with 10%, and the ball is going to come in here and it's going to roll, and it's going to go a little bit short, but nonetheless, it's going to give ourselves a very easy birdie, and that is something that we will take, but definitely a hole where we are able to dial that one in for an hole-in-one. Hole number 9. Hole number 9 is going to give us tailwind, and that of course helps a lot, because now we can play it over the rough there in like the first piece of rough. We need to first and foremost over adjust our drive with 20%. Yes, 20, so 20. That is going to be very important, as we otherwise we're going to go too long and we might going to risk going into the rough there on top. You can, if you have a big topper and you have a berserker ball, you can play it the same way as we're going to play with an extra mile and a power 3 ball, just that you have more topspin with the big topper. I'm going to play it with the extra mile in this example, as I do believe that the general rookie player has an extra mile, maybe not a big topper, and also general has more titans than we do have a berserker ball. You can see here with the distance with a big topper, no problem whatsoever to reach to the distance that we do want. With a titan, we're going to have to overpower, and that's not something that I will do. So I'm going to change to the extra mile, and you can see how far we can reach there. And once again, we do have tailwind, we do have an extended ball guideline, so 4.5 bar topspin, it's going to normally be okay. At least it's going to be okay for us to bounce on the fairway into the rough to roll out on the other side of the fairway. The thing that we of course would like to do is that the ball should be bouncing directly over the rough completely, but then we need to go with a little bit more curl, and so we're aiming to the right side a little bit, because we would be having distance enough to bounce over the rough completely if we would be going with a little bit more curl or aiming a little bit more to the right instead. But this situation here, I'm okay with that. It's going to be no problem for us to reach for the green, and now while having a big dog, we might would be just changing back to a Viper or a Sniper instead, as we don't need that much distance as I believe we would from the beginning. So we're just going to, with our big dog that we have picked, because I picked the big dog due to the distance, that I thought like, okay, if we cut the rough, it's good that we do have the big dog, so we do not fall, fail in the fact that we're going to have less yards to play with. So big dog here, you can see here how long we can go really. It's like we're not even close to max distance. There is max. So we drop down, so it's basically going to be in medium distance of our club. 2.5 bar backspin with as much side spin to the right as possible. Aiming here for the ball to bounce, second bounce on the fringe. That is, as you will be seeing, that we're going to come in a little bit hot. So we're going to change that. And we're going to, like to the next time. And we're going to aim a little bit further back. The thing to just have in mind here is like, I do aim pretty close to, and going for the pin here, I'm pretty close to the rough and the sand to the right. If you do feel uncomfortable with that, play a little bit longer out to the left and go with some curl instead to curl yourself into the pin. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Rookie Division. Once again, timestamp down in the video description, and also together with link to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, where you can sign up to get the updated text guides. The video is sponsored here by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the Gridiron tournament.